using the in-house system today. We attempt to. I just need to know where my camera angles are.
Working when they
It's this way versus this way. I don't have a good side, so it doesn't really matter.
It was working when they tested it, but that's no guarantee.
I'm surprised the number of bugs in that system.
Technology, I guess.
Well, you can't tell me they haven't put one of these mics in another room. It's
Somewhere,
somewhere
in
close to
planet.
this. Yeah.
Well, it's not what they recommended. It's not what they did not recommend the ceiling mic. Their initial proposal was
Was what we're ending.
10 desk mics, and we said, no, we
Sometimes they know what they're talking about.
wouldn't.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that.
That was in our original bid, and that's how they responded. They said, no, we wouldn't recommend the ceiling mic. But it worked in the other place.
Right, so our experience was that it worked fine.
Well, that one hung down from the ceiling and this one's up again.
I don't know why this is not working.
Okay, well, people can see it.
People can see us. There we
Mic
go.
is lit.
There you go.
Okay, all right, now that folks can see us, we will go ahead and begin. We will start with the Public Works Department update. Gordy, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I have just a few items on your consent agenda and your agenda today. One of them is a notice to contractors to advertise the Courtney Road project for bids. And with the bid opening date of January 25th, so that will give contractors several weeks to fine tune their bids. We have two pay estimates. One is to Northwest National Homes, and it's stucco work on the front entry to the courthouse. And also felt to paint it. And then
This is a really good painting weather.
no.
Or stuccoing weather, honestly.
No, they
It is
they
for
got that
indoor
done.
offices.
Yeah, the challenge now is our carpenter's cutting out all the pieces of metal for the old last vestibule that was there, and we're redoing that, but he can't glue anything until we get temperatures that are conducive to the glue setting up, so. But I think he's got most of the pieces cut out, so we're hoping we'll get a day maybe next week to do all that stuff up or find a way to heat things up out there. Then we have our estimate number 7 and the final key contractors for the courthouse entry walkways and handrail upgrades. And on the construction side, everything's shut down by our specs. Things get shut down between Christmas and New Year's anyway, and the weather just isn't really conducive anyway to doing the work. So both the grant funded signs, Guide Coast and the Roosevelt Great Paving are shut down this week. Hopefully we'll see next week weather. Courtney Road, we talked about that. Klickitat path, nothing really new. That with the state parks and DOT. Courthouse parking lot, really nothing's moving ahead on that one. Our designer is working on that. We are advertising for our on-call consultants that we do every year. So you don't either have the certifications or the requirements by RCW to perform, such as real estate services on federal aid projects, materials testing, structural, geotechnical engineering, environmental and archaeological services. So these we use when we need them, and if we don't use them, then we don't invite those people to come work on it. So only when we need them, and sometimes, especially for the structural and the geotechnical, when you need them now. So they're good things to have in place. Maintenance side, we are pretty much responding to the weather. And so we're plowing and sanding as the weather dictates that we need to do. And, we hope, because we have a lot of light snow on the east side, that it doesn't start blowing over there, or we'll have other problems like we have in past years. I think on the White Salmon area, west side, we had a lot of heavy snow that brought down a lot of large branches. So the guys are cleaning those up as well as they go. The building did our site walk around last Thursday. Like it was snowing and the wind was blowing pretty good. It was a cool day to be out there, but we got that done and made a punch list for the outside of the building for the contractor. Flooring in the building should be complete. So you probably saw that they leveled out the landings. Those are kind of the last big areas that they have to finish. And so I think they're going to try and do those tonight, finish them up. And so then we'll be down the punch list, because I've already noticed there's some places where the adhesive hasn't stuck very well. And so we'll get the contractor to fix those locations. We still have our seals around most of the interior windows that have to be redone by the contractor at their expense.
What caused it? Just bad?
They just threw them in there just to get the window set. And that's what they were trying to do. And they did that, but now they have to go back and fix them all. Yeah, because most of them are not great. Blinds, I don't have an ETA. I think our contractor's struggling with the blind stuff to get them out here to replace the 5% with the blackout shades. So when I have a date, I'll let you know. HVAC units, they finished the balancing this week, and there was a phone conference on last Thursday, and they have some ideas. So pretty much immediately after they get this report from the balancing sub, they will start working on the fixes for these areas. I have several locations on each floor, and obviously one of them is in your offices. They're going to have an acoustic person come out, and so we'll need to fire back up the units that are turned off. I think they permanently shut down the one in your guys' area. And so that'll have to come back on, so he can actually hear what's going on and help with the solution. So that's this week. And
So at this point, we're just relying on heat from other parts of the building.
yeah, there are several units. Most areas have multiple units.
Yeah, it seems fine. I mean, I hadn't noticed anything one way or the other, but it wasn't in there.
Yeah.
But the temperature was perfect.
It was perfect. It seemed quite nice, so.
I get plenty of heat blowing from across the hall, so.
All right, the painters are back on site this week, so they're hopefully finishing up. And then in Rob's area, he probably wants to know, because the framers and the electricians will be in there this week working on the reconfigurations in those areas. So
Kitchen too, or just,
I think both, they'll probably frame in both the entry into the break room and that front entry.
I know the door frames are in there.
Yeah, so they're moving ahead. Let's see. Nothing new on the parking expansion. I got a bug Larry Bellamy about getting that before his council to approve our vacation grant. We talked about the courthouse entry. We're just waiting for warmer weather to. Radio sites, nothing new on our HVAC, still waiting for those we ordered this past fall. A follow-up issue on Garrison Road. We talked to Lisa Deely last week about what's going on in the property. And it's neighbors that are not considerate. So they've had instances where, and she said this last year when they were moving cattle, you can just wait. It's part of the community. It's one of those things that occurs seasonally here. And so people were impatient, and they actually bumped one of the horses with their vehicle. There's not much we're going to do to fix things like that. And then when they're moving equipment as well, people are impatient and trying to do things that they shouldn't do, like passing when they shouldn't, and those kinds of things. So
range area fix those problems?
I don't know. I don't know that it does, but I think I want to talk to the prosecutor about it.
If it is not in, if it's in open range, it takes the liability off of the farmer, rancher, and puts it on the person who hits their car. Or hits their cow.
Right, but I can't imagine if you're trying to drive through a cattle drive and you're busting between cows and a cow takes off your mirror, how the cow's responsible for that when you drove through the cattle drive. And that's a narrow road. So I mean, reality, if you've ever seen pictures of them driving on that road, it's cows from side to side, fence to fence. There's really nowhere to get through. So I guess if people are impatient, they're trying to sneak in through there.
Yeah, there may be other solutions that I haven't had a chance to maybe dig in and see what other communities are doing. You know, when they move cows. You know,
I mean, is there, I mean, there's no noticing requirements, there's none of that, but, you know, that might be something so that if there was, so folks knew. I mean, not that it's required, but again, just to be a good neighbor, like if I'm, you know, I lived on a private road and if I was gonna be doing something that was like when we would hook up a new utility where we were gonna have to dig a ditch across the road, because the water line was on the other side and the houses were on this side, and there really was not, you know, other than, you know, and so we tried to be as fast as we could, but we would just, you know, it was just our neighbors.
Yeah.
And they owned the water line and they owned along with the rest of us, but we would say, oh, we're gonna put a new, you know, we're gonna tap the water line, or we're gonna run a new water line across the road on Thursday. It'll probably be, you know, we'll be as quick as we can, but it might be an hour or two. The road's gonna be closed. And so if you need to go to town or you need to do something, or, you know, we can figure something out. We're not required to do it, but it would just be a good neighbor that you know that. That's what I'm wondering if folks knew. Like I just know in the spring when I come, I know about the time when those cows are gonna start moving. And during that kind of time period, I find an alternate route to go.
I can see where that would be good.
I mean, just reach out, just let, it's not gonna fix it.
The cows that go down my road are Kaiser cows and they overnight at the property right next to me. So I can just call my neighbor and say, hey, when they moving those out? And then I know.
Right.
But I'm probably the only one on the road that knows. So, and that would be nice if there was some public outreach to those. But my other thought is I don't think just opening or making it open range is gonna make it stop cars from trying to drive past the horse in close conditions.
Yeah.
So what about, is there any options like we do for rally races where we close the road on a certain day? The farmer's gonna put his cows between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock or whatever the heck it is, just close the roads and drive it.
I mean,
That's
that,
not an option.
well, in some cases it is, you know, so Cedar Valley is another one of those corridors that gets used, Schilling Road, seasonal, Wacacus Heights. But on Garrison, their Thompson Trail Road is, there's no other way to get in and out.
Right.
So if you close it, you've shut all those people out. And there's quite a few homes back there. So at that, in that segment, it is a challenge for closures for people that, you know, go to work. And trying to coordinate that might be more of a challenge, but it would work places like Horses of Cedar Valley and Schilling, Cactus Heights. It's maybe more challenging because it's one way in a lot of times too, unless you go out to Fisher Hill.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking with that road is, yeah, there's no other detour route available. But if the farmer was requesting a 2-hour closure, people could just go before that or go after it, better be an emergency.
Yeah, if they, you know, pinned it down to a window of time and sent out notice to their neighbors, you know, because like I said, it's pretty much a captive audience. Everybody else, you know, most people don't drive up Garrison unless you live there, or, you know, you're going up to the timberlands behind it, up above it. But I think there are opportunities like that, and maybe some other signing, like we do flip signs for load limits and stuff like that, maybe some kind of sign like that, that they can actually notify or tell people when they're gonna do it. Might be helpful too. I don't know,
I'm not opposed to the open range idea, I just don't think that's gonna answer their problems.
No, and you can't, I don't think there's anything really we can do, you know, if the farm equipment is signed and properly when they go down the road, you know, it's just the impatient drivers that,
Your last year doesn't understand.
yeah, I don't know that we're gonna fix that.
Right.
So. But I think I'd like to have a little bit of time to maybe research and see other ideas that other communities might have that might help us here. And then have maybe some time to talk to the prosecutor. And get his thoughts on it as well. Now that I think I better understand
What the real issue is. What's always the start? You have to understand what the problem
Well,
is
that's-
before you try to find solutions.
Kind of why I dictated that way, because I didn't think the solution was
Fix the problem.
handing out more welcome to the country, this is how we operate pamphlets.
That's it for my list.
You have a note here of the whole DOE with
Oh, sorry.
conditions, but you didn't tell us.
I don't know yet. I know that the letter is forthcoming with conditions that we have approval to close it, whether it's installing a permanent
Well, it's
monitoring.
locked.
Shouldn't be.
Okay.
I'll double check.
I haven't seen read the door.
I looked away, so I wasn't sure. Continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think there was a discussion when we first started that they may require monitoring well.
Right.
Whether that's in that letter as condition, I don't know yet. And later this week, we actually get the letter and I'll know. If you're interested, I can forward a copy to you.
Might as well, let
Yeah.
us all share in the joy.
Yeah, but we can fill it up. And so you know, this time of year is kind of challenging for us. I think having our crews do it will be the most economical way. And then what we'll do is look for a window in the weather so we have opportunity to pull our sanders off and haul material and fill it from our quarries. So we'll use quarry spalt and other rocks. So basically there's no compaction there. You're just filling the hole with something that is not compactable.
Right.
And then we'll cap it with the crushed rock when the contractor is able to come back and do that.
How long does it take to take the sand drop and put it back on?
It's about an hour a vehicle.
So it's not terrible, but
No.
it's not insignificant.
And if there's a lull in the weather, it's better for us to keep our guys busy doing things like that too. So
Feel like we should bury it. 55 gallon drum in that hole, just whoever digs it up. Just to scare them.
Surprise!
Just
Inside is
one.
nothing. A clean, never used, never had any.
With a little note that says,
Just kidding.
The other note I have pertains to the person just walking around Golden Hill City Hall last week. Citizen gave another speech about the annex building. Was an accurate speech, but anyway. And essentially in a nutshell saying that the commissioner's concern over getting rid of that building to some private party was all based on parking. Which, at least for me, it isn't. It's a very small percentage of it. But I'm thinking we're gonna need to dive into some more details. We're gonna need, or I'm gonna need anyway. I know you did a cost estimate years ago before this was done. What that would take to fix, and I think. Remember that estimate? If you could find that, add for inflation. Don't redo it. Don't put that much time in it, but add for inflation. I also know that we're planning on putting some type of garages there for the buses. So if we don't have that area, we would now need to find a new area, which would probably be more lots, more houses, more evictions.
Right.
So a guesstimate, I would like a guesstimate on what that would cost. The taxpayers, if we don't use the property we already have. That'll kind of be a good start, but be aware that you could be hearing from Larry that the city council is fine if the county wants to come up with some other way to provide parking versus that area, as long as the city doesn't have an expense for said parking. In other words, if that's 35 spots, if we want to like public auction that building and create 35 other spots, the city's okay with it. Obviously, that would be a cost to the taxpayers. You have to buy your property. But anyway, Larry might be reaching out in that direction if I'm correct. So,
And could you, what I'd like to see, I agree with all of that. I think that will be really helpful to have that information again.
Sure.
And then as an alternative, but then also maybe next week or whenever it's convenient. Actually, once you're ready to, as part of that discussion, because I don't want to put you on the spot as far as, we don't need this next week necessarily, but when you're ready, part of that conversation needs to be about what that parking actually is, because as Commissioner Christopher alluded to, it wasn't just parking for people, citizens or whatever. We were talking about, we have a lot of fleet vehicles that we have to put in somewhere, and that was, I believe, part of the plan. I don't think that's been really articulated well, that folks are just thinking, well, what's the difference? Or we don't need the spaces, we really need those 35 spaces or whatever it is. It's like, well, it wasn't just parking, it was parking, but that had an expanded meaning to it, meaning we have fleet vehicles that we need to have someplace close. I mean, we used to have all these annexes that we had stuff kind of stacked around that were kind of went with those buildings, and now it's all here. And we obviously don't have the space to do that here, so we have to do it somewhere, and that's what's going to be the somewhere.
without losing, the converters.
Right.
Okay.
And as far as for senior services and public works and all those and then some kind of garages, small shop kind of. I mean, I know there was some part of the plan.
When you're ready with all of that fun information, my recommendation is instead of having it as an update in your morning, regular stuff, to put it as an item for discussion on the afternoon agenda, so that the citizens that would like more information can tune in and actually have the same information that we have.
Okay. Yep, I'll do that. Yeah, I don't know how much of it I'll get done this week,
Yeah, no,
but
no,
yeah, then we'll start digging next week.
We have lots of time.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's all the notes I had.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. I appreciate the extra gravel on the sidewalks.
Good, yeah.
Told them to turn their spreader on a little bigger.
Yeah, well,
Is this little for the, I would say the back door, the side door, is that heated too, the little stretch of the sidewalk, or was it just
heated from the building out
to the parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay, I want, because I thought, wow, they did a really good job of getting everything off of this.
The only other thing I have that I didn't really think we needed to mention it in your where to park email that you sent to employees.
Yeah.
Was when I pulled in today, there was an employee from the health department that parked in the battery charging spot at the end and then came into the building with a non-battery car. You fake, but I'm assuming eventually we're gonna have signs up that say something.
Got the signs yesterday and they will go up. Yeah, they say for battery charging vehicles only, no parking if you're not charging, basically is what it says, so.
You're not plugged in.
Yeah.
And then hopefully if our employees are using the plug-in, they're like, we do have one employee that I mentioned that uses it. They pull their car around, plug in, charge up for an hour, then go out with the car. So it does,
Yeah.
they don't park in it. all day long, which is fine with me. So,
Okay,
Yep, the signs will go up.
thank you, sir.
thank you.
You have a visitor if you.
Yeah. Council member Walling, did you have something or
Well.
just wandering around? You can come.
If you have a minute.
I was gonna say, I probably needed a punch, but.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, I didn't plan on saying anything. I was just downstairs getting my booster shot, so I haven't passed out yet, so.
All right,
I guess I'm all
haven't
right.
grown a tail yet. so.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, back on your comment, yeah, the council just said the building belongs to the county, and so whatever we decide to do, The other thing, we've come in, John Miller and I, we come in and talked about the restroom. The Mary Hill Board accepted, to get the capital projects grant. And they're gonna try to work out some way, how they're gonna pay for it. They have until really June of 23 to actually finish it. So I don't know if they're gonna work on it right away or they're gonna figure it out. I told them, you'd be lucky if you get it built by July or August of 22. And then you would only have maybe 3 months of expense. Then after that, then you would have more time to try to figure out, how much is it really gonna cost? How much maintenance is really involved? And so anyway, we're pleased about that. The chamber has to fill out a little paperwork and send it in to the Department of Commerce. And then everyone's on vacation now, so I can probably do that the first of next week. And then hopefully then we'll be out of it, the chamber will be out of it. So,
I
yeah,
saw a Facebook post from Mary Hill that was talking about applications for camp host type thing, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Those things.
oh, did they put it on
I
Facebook?
saw it, yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. I saw it on there, something like good, at least they're starting
Oh,
out.
okay, I
I
didn't
think that was
see.
a really good idea.
Yeah, well, I think it is too.
Were they planning on, the one thing I never asked you, were they planning on putting that person's trailer at Stonehenge or at Mary Hill? Or do you know?
Well, I thought that they were gonna put it at the Stonehenge.
Might have to start.
Because there's been a few little problems going on, And also, there's been some people, what I've been told is, campers just come in there and just spend the weekend or spend a week or two or whatever. That's been going on for maybe a couple of years. And I think that's the idea of having a camper there. The security for the whole area. And if that person wants to kind of do a little work on someday on the restroom, that would be great. But I don't know if that's in the plan, so, yeah. So otherwise than that, I guess that's all I have to
Okay,
say.
well, that's mostly good news.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
right.
take it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was very frustrating that they didn't want to jump in and say, yeah, this is great, Because Representative Gina Mossberger, she made it a priority project to put that in, so, we were to get the grant. Anyway, that's all. I have to do.
All right.
Good. Okay. Let's see
Thank you,
everybody.
sir.
Yeah. I'll see if I can make it downstairs now.
Without passing out?
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't.
I'd rather get blood because Michigan orange is good.
Everybody take care.
Keep a Milky Way bar for it. Anything else before we break for lunch? Okay. I would entertain a motion.
Motion, I would make a motion that we adjourn for lunch, come back at 1 o'clock.
I will step down and second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are recessed until 1 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Let the record show that Commissioner Christopher, Commissioner Sauter are present. Commissioner Anderson is away.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the business agenda as presented.
I will step down and second that motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll go, let's do our pledge of
Oh,
allegiance.
yeah, sorry.
go with that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good call, I did hop over that. No meeting minutes that I know of.
No, which will bring us to citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to provide comment to the Board of Commissioners. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We have no public, I'm assuming, in chamber, so I will go online first. If there's anybody that wishes to provide public comment, raise your hand or unmute yourself, get our attention. Let's see. Okay. Well, if you change your mind, speak up. Okay, if anybody just joined us, we are in citizen comment period. If you wish to provide citizen comment to the board, unmute yourself or raise your hand or do something to get our attention. Okay.
Slim spots. Yeah. Nobody's commented so far.
Okay, we are still in citizen comment. If there's anybody that wishes to provide comment to the board, this is your opportunity. I'm assuming the folks in chambers no wish to use citizen comment. Okay. You're online, unmute yourself, raise your hand.
Oh,
Raise your hand.
They were in. Well, they usually are just in the stuff, but since we don't hold.
probably should get a vanilla folder, maybe. I think,
Can we do its own
vanilla folder for the bills. If somebody, well, it's now.
Tracy, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Thank you, commissioners, and happy holidays. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound coming in good.
Okay, good. So I just have a couple comments. One is you have a couple job openings now that I wanted to apply for. And when I went to apply on the government jobs website that you guys use, since my data has recently been hacked, unfortunately, I went into the privacy policies as I do now from now on. And in the privacy policies, the government jobs company that you folks use for your for hiring, they take a lot of data. So they take your social security number, they take your financials, they take your IP address. And to confirm this, I went to the unemployment office in Oregon and had my friend Eric over there take a look and asked him if it's worth applying for this job with you guys. And he applied no. So he went ahead and called last Friday to your HR department and confirmed that this was the only way that a person could apply for a job. So I'm requesting that you folks, the commissioners, look over that government jobs website and their privacy policy. See if possibly you could change some of the information that they collect from people so that it's not dangerous to apply for jobs for the community. So that's my first request.
Okay.
And my second is, yes, I'm sorry.
No, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. So my second, actually just, I wanted to just let you know that in March of 2021, the Federal Communications Company or Federal Communications place said that there was a security alert, alert for the Chinese communications with it's called HUAWAI, and then there's another one called LE. I can't remember the last digit on that, but anyway, and they do have a program going on right now until January 14th of next year that they reimburse anybody that has those Chinese communications equipment. They'll reimburse you 100% to destroy those communications equipment and replace them with something that's not a security threat. And I didn't know if the commissioners knew that program was going on, and if so, have you implemented it into the various departments that use communications?
That's the first I've heard of it. I will pass that on.
Okay, would you like me to email you a link to that?
I'm sure, yeah, that would be fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Send it to HR, so,
And Klickitat County number.
yeah, HR@klickitatcounty.org.
Okay, will do. You fellas have a happy New Year's, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are still in citizen comment. If there is another citizen who wishes to provide public comment, this is your opportunity. If you are online, unmute yourself or raise your hand.
There. He said, look over there. Sounds like
Playing somewhere else.
doing an email.
Everybody have a good holiday? Yes? For those online, they're shaking their head yes.
Yes. Yes,
Non-verbal.
yes.
That's good. We're able to find parking okay?
This week, everybody's on,
Yeah,
or use it
everybody's
or lose it.
Somebody at lunchtime asked us about if the new building was open. We said, oh yeah. Come in, and they said, oh, they've been by there, it's hard, there's no parking. So we said, well, we did try to encourage that last week, so hopefully there should be some more spaces for the public in the new building.
I usually park back here off of Grant, and I will have to say it's a lot nicer now since, I don't know what spurred it, but there's a lot of lighting back there after dark. Because last year at this time, I hated to park there because I felt like I was creepy and icky and I didn't know what was in the boogies.
Love the lighting back there. It's a great addition.
Oh, okay.
That's spectacular. It's wonderful. Feel safe walking back there.
Good. And they're gonna add some more when they pave the park.
Yeah, there'll be more of our four designated here, the two on the left or right. Right. Like the vendors, so you'll have more.
We are in citizen comment, so I'll ask every time a new person comes in the room, it's possible they might want to make citizen comment. No, Denise, no citizen comment? No, okay, just checking. It's okay, I'll go back online if there's anybody, unmute yourself or raise your hand.
We're online and in.
Talented. Some of us are in the room and we're not really here.
Who? Me?
3376.
337.
3376, go ahead.
Okay, how you doing today?
Pretty good, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, this is Ken McCune again. I talked to you last week about surplusing the Annex 1. I didn't get to finish my message because of the time restraints for 3 minutes. And I'd like to point out that 3 minutes used to be 7 minutes years ago. For some reason, it got chopped down to 3. But anyway, I just wanted to let Commissioner Christopher know, because I did get to talk with Mr. Commissioner Sauter a little bit, that I did find somebody that has the ability to refurbish that building if it was made available to the public through the surplus market. I sent you guys an email or an email, I guess it was. I don't know if you were able to open it up. It was a city council meeting from about a week ago. My presentation to them. That would pretty much explain to you what's going on with the desire to have it available. So I just wanted to double check with you, let you know that if it happens, it'll happen. If it don't happen, I guess it don't happen. I know there's a lot of people that don't think it's such a good idea. it would be a huge accomplishment if it could be done. I know that that old building has its problems, and Mr. Crocker from or Portis Capital is real familiar with those kind of problems, but it may be too much even for him. So, but unless we get him in here and let him assess it, him and or somebody else. And how would it be so hard on the county, you know? Why would it be so bad for the county to have somebody else have to go in there and clean it up? You guys are going to have a quarter to a $500,000 bill tearing that thing down. The city paid $250,000, or not the city, but the gentleman that got the old nursing home property. His bill was $250,000. So it wouldn't take much to, a little paperwork to offer it to the public. And if nobody wants it, guess what? You get your parking lot. And right across the street from Annex 1 is a parking lot next to the parts store, Goldendale Auto Parts Store. That parking lot is owned by a company in Yakima. Like, the county's been buying up property all over the place for parking. Why can't you make a deal to buy that property? You seem to be able to make some pretty good deals somehow in the past. So you've got houses and businesses. And anyway, you guys have a great one, and I probably won't talk to you again until next year.
Okay, thank you
for your time.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we are still in citizen comment. If there's anybody that wishes to address the board, this is your opportunity. If you are online, unmute yourself, raise your hand. Get our attention one way or the other. We're just not very talkative today. Thank you. Reserving their energy for later. Did you find what you needed yesterday?
I hope so. We got tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, I have the same response. I hope so.
We have to come to town for parks.
Yeah.
That was already our second trip.
No. Anytime you're doing plumbing, it's a multiple trip. Never done it in a single trip, any project.
You would just end up with so many pieces left over. But they all go in a total. There's quite a bit extra.
Right, which then you don't actually use, and then you go get more. And then you buy a second
You would be
totes.
surprised how many totes.
I have a lot of
You could
totes.
accumulate
I have a lot of totes
They just
myself.
save plumbing. And they're just PVC fittings of various sizes.
When you have an emergency,
It's
you
the
still
wrong-
won't have it.
No, we moved out here, have a nice big barn, plenty of storage. And we have quite a order. Buy three just. for town.
Okay, we are still in citizen comment. If there's anybody online who wishes to provide comment, this is your opportunity.
minutes. So I can just read this one.
Hi there. Hey, my name is John Jessup, and I live at 140 Buck Creek Road, White Salmon, Washington. And we wanted to make comment on the John Anderson Bridge that's going to be going across, or that's applying to go across Buck Creek. And I can't tell, nothing's really happening on the phone.
Right,
If I-
yeah, so we're in
Hearing-
general citizen comment right now, that there will be that's scheduled at 1:30, so this is to provide comment on anything else that's not on the agenda later. So if you wish to provide comments about that proposal, you'll have to wait.
Great, that's okay. I didn't know that. Okay, I'll mute again and wait.
Okay.
John, somebody. That's all I got.
See which.
I believe he's the applicant.
Yeah.
His lips weren't moving.
His lips were moving. So I'm thinking it had to be a different.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are still in citizen comment, which is just of a general nature for items that we don't have meetings or hearings scheduled later. So unmute yourself, raise your hand. I am not seeing it.
But there was like, move it out.
It's for us old dinosaurs.
Oh, we got one dinosaur.
Okay, the time being 1:30, a time we've set aside for public hearings, public meetings, and bid openings. Our first order of business is a public meeting to consider the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval of a shoreline substantial development permit and a shoreline conditional use permit, SH 2021-02 of the Buck Creek Bridge project. The applicant is John Anderson. I will start. We'll start with a brief staff report.
You guys have a schedule?
Oh. Okay, we will start with a brief description of the proposal. Staff.
Okay, what we have here is an opportunity for the board to provide input, actually. To consider the Planning Commission's recommendation of approval of shoreline substantial development and shoreline conditional use application number SH 2021-02. The applicant, John Anderson, is proposing to build a bridge over Buck Creek in the Houston vicinity. The board may summarily accept the Planning Commission's recommendation or hold their own public hearing if you wish to modify the decision. The board's decision will be forwarded to the Department of Ecology for final approval.
Okay, thank you. As was stated, this is a public meeting. It's not a public hearing, so there is discretion on the part of the chair in taking comments from the public. Typically, I would support that.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Is the reason this is not a public hearing is because the public hearing is placed before the planning commission?
Yes.
So this is just fine with testimony. I would just want clarification.
And at this point, I would, I actually will give the applicant, if they wish, an opportunity to provide comment to the board if you wish. I do see Mr. Anderson is on, he's on our screen. So this would be an opportunity. Okay. Does not appear to be interested in doing that. I will now open this public meeting. I will accept public comment on this proposal. I think we should limit comment to the, as we do in other things, 3 minutes. Please, if you wish to provide comment, which we did have a gentleman earlier. Right, and we did it. We did receive the emails this morning. They are part of the record. The board was given those as well as the emails we received last week as well prior to this hearing. So if there's anybody in the public that wishes to provide public comment on this proposal, this is your opportunity. Unmute yourself, raise your hand.
Hi there, this is John
Yes.
Jessup again. I can't raise my hand. I'm calling in
That's fine.
on a line from Mexico.
Could
I go ahead?
Name and address, or at least community, if you would please, sir.
Yeah. John Jessup and Rebecca Schwartzentruber on 140 Buck, White Salmon, Washington.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, we're concerned about the bridge going in without knowing what kind of development's going on the other side of the creek. We live along the creek bordering Mr. Anderson's property. And well, I can appreciate his situation, his desire for a bridge. I understand the need for that bridge, given that he has access on the other side of the creek for a home. And we're concerned about development on that side of the creek because of just in the past year, there's been considerable logging and a lot of dust, noise, and already there's a ton of dust that comes up on the road, dumping into Buck Creek, and we're concerned about it coming from that side, both to our house and into the creek. I'm sorry for all the noise. We're calling in from a restaurant's Wi-Fi. And then I don't know, I think it would just be helpful in terms of making a decision whether the bridge should go in or not, what's going in on the other side, whether we would be for it or not, because of the delicacy to the creek and to the environment there. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And just so you know, we weren't actually hearing any other noise, so it was fine. Okay. Okay.
Am I muted now?
No, we can still hear you, sir.
Okay.
That sounded like me. Okay, I'm still providing an opportunity for folks to comment on this proposal. Mr. Anderson, I see your camera is on. Did you wish to address the board?
You done mute yourself, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So on John's concern about what's going on across the creek from his home there, as of right now, it's just one house for my own personal use. But I do have 3 children, and I probably could see in the future they may want to build something over there too, just being candid about it, but I don't know when that might be or if. So it's not like going to be a development for selling off lots or anything like that. my intention is to keep it as much in one parcel as possible. Keep the creek as beautiful and pristine as it has been for the last 90 years that our family has owned it. As far as the dust goes, I'm sorry about that, John. It's just part of logging, and I understand your concern, and we tried to help out mitigate it as during the time that you had your family reunion there. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's been in our family for the acreage for 90 years. The only people that's ever built on our property has been myself, my brother, and his son. And I don't think any of us look forward to adding anything other than just family members for the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody else that wishes to provide public comment on this proposal? Unmute yourself, *6 if you're on a phone. Not seeing anybody. Okay, I will now close the meeting to further public comment. This is now an opportunity for the board, if necessary. We can ask questions of staff, the applicant, and look for any kind of clarifications of information in the record. So, questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Anderson, or Commissioner Christopher.
We look so much alike. We're both so young and full-headed hair.
Yes.
I do have a question for staff that I'm hoping you can maybe enlighten me on. As this parcel is of resource land, what are the processes would this applicant have to go through if they were going to put in some kind of single-family dwelling, 5 houses, 10 houses, whatever kind of thing like that, and not just house here, house there.
In resource land zoning, a resource land evaluation would need to be done. We go through that process prior to developing the lots, find out what they could do, how many, what size the open area needs to be, how many lots, what size of lots.
And just like with everything else, I'm assuming stormwater runoff will be taken into account when that happens.
Not in the resource land evaluation. We're looking at soil types and suitability. Once it's determined how many lots, how big the open area needs to be, et cetera, then the applicant or the landowner would apply for a short plat, application. And then at that time, all of the different, access, stormwater, critical areas, environmental health, and all the different departments would get involved. It would go through the typical short plat process, including environmental.
And I have one question for the applicant, Mr. Anderson. Hopefully you can hear me. Not that it pertains much to this, but I'm just curious, you have done some logging over there. Do you
Yes.
happen to know how many board feet of timber you've taken off the property recently and or in the future, near future?
Sure.
Ballpark.
Ballpark, yeah. We've taken up ballpark, probably, I'm guessing 25 truckloads, whatever that might be. We're done logging. There was a partial thin along the creek, above the creek, 200 feet setback from the creek. And that is all completed, so there will be no more logging in that area. I do have another 80 acres north of there that is set up for a clear cut. but it's quite a ways off from the creek. I don't think it'll have any impact on the creek at all. Borders up against state land up north.
Okay.
So there's probably there's gonna be some, I don't know how much is gonna come out of there. I'm not so sure I want to cut it all at this time or when that might happen, but there is some more to come out at some future time. And it would probably,
The truckloads was a good measurement for me because I don't know, I don't look at 25 truckloads as being a lot. So I think that's quite reasonable.
oh, there's a substantial amount of timber on there. I mean, there just is, and it's a resource that is in demand, so.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No further questions, sir.
Okay, I just had one. Well, you have multiple comments. Denise says, wow, great, thanks. No, it is, just to follow up on Commissioner Christopher's earlier question. The construction of the bridge in and of itself does not in any way foreshadow it doesn't, any future potential development will have to go through a full public process. The resource lands evaluation to determine how many, what size, what could be done. And then once that was determined, if the applicant wanted to actually do that and create some lots, that would go through a public process, a short plat or subdivision, I suppose, if it was more than 4 lots. And then all of those factors, as far as stormwater and runoff, and traffic and water use and all of those things would be analyzed at the time of that short plat application.
That's correct.
That was my concern. So if we're looking at residential development where, pretty much everybody should know now, I'm concerned about fire, ingress and egress, but that doesn't pertain to this because this is for a bridge. We get to a potential short plat and building of that nature, then that's where those conflicts might be raised.
Okay, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, I have no more as well.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the shoreline substantial development permit and shoreline conditional use permit SH 2021-02, therefore forwarding to the Department of Ecology for final approval.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That concludes
You
that
have to
business.
permit approval in front of you.
Yes, we do. You want it signed right now?
You don't have to sign it right now.
We'll get it to you by the end of the day. How's that?
Mr. Anderson, if you're still there and listening, I would like to say thank you for keeping that 200-foot buffer with the creek. The shorelines and the riparian areas are a big deal to me. So I hope we can look forward to you making them a big deal to you as well.
Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate your time for considering this and approving it. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to our family and my father's legacy.
Just to clarify that we will be forwarding this permit approval to the Department of Ecology, who has the ultimate last word.
Right. With the recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, our next order of business is a public hearing to consider revisions to the Klickitat County redistricting plan by making no changes of the county commission district boundaries or to the Klickitat County Code Chapter 1.12.010 titled Commissioner District Boundaries Designated. Let me start with the update again, if you wish, from elections and the county auditor.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that we presented the draft redistricting plan last week and don't have any further information to present. Just asking if you have any questions about the plan.
I would actually ask us to, I will ask us to hold that and we will take public comment on the draft redistricting plan. I will note for the record, we did receive some comments, which I think probably were forwarded to you as well. Yeah,
Both for and against.
both for and against. We actually had some today that were in support of the current redistricting plan, which is no change, basically is the status quo. Given that, at this point, I will now open the public hearing for the purpose of taking public comment on the draft redistricting plan as it has been submitted. So if there's anybody in the public that wishes to provide public comment on this, this is your opportunity. Please unmute yourself, raise your hand, *6 if you're on a phone. Get our attention. Tracy, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. So I actually don't know about this redistricting plan. If you could just give a little bit of background or information to it. I did look online and look at the map of the plan. And I understand that each commissioner has a different area of the district. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So who has the central Klickitat district, the one that was in beige?
That's District 2. So that is, I am from that district.
Okay, so that's you, Commissioner Sauter.
Correct.
Okay. And then for that District 2, are they joined in any way with the Sherman County, Hood River County, and Wasco County?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to provide comment on the draft redistricting? Okay, there being none. I will now close the public hearing to further public comment on this. This is now an opportunity if there are questions to be asked.
So don't have any questions.
Or comments. This is
Comment I would make again this week is I wish we could have got this with enough time to actually make the changes, but we didn't. There's nothing wrong with this plan the way it is. So I will accept it.
I would comment to, I see nothing wrong with this draft plan. It is the status quo. It meets all the criteria. It is, I guess it's unfortunate that we don't have, that we cannot be fully responsive to, we've had some questions raised, or I wouldn't even say questions, really requests as far as about moving some of the boundaries around. And I typically, we want to try to be responsive if we can. This is within, we meet, at least from my perspective, this plan meets all the criteria that is necessary for a redistricting plan. And so it's not necessary given the short timeline. Plus, if we've only heard from a few people in that kind of one area in the Trout Lake area about the issues there. There's no way for us to know, had we moved boundaries around that were different, we could have heard from entirely different communities. And so, sorry, that's the timer. Timed myself out. And so, given that, I don't, as I said, I am inclined to support this draft plan. As I said, I think it meets all the criteria. If the community members feel very strongly about it, there is an opportunity, there is an appeal opportunity if they so choose. It is not, it is to Superior Court. And so that is an option that is available to folks if they really feel like we've missed the mark on this. Yes, sir.
And I would just add that with our limited time to adjust things and change boundaries and resize voter precincts, based on the late census and the COVID year and how late the census took, I don't want to have to try to rush through anything and you know, kind of go about correcting and putting Trout Lake all in one area again, just roughshod willy-nilly in a hurry. So if it can't be timed and processed and having public hearings by all the people that are going to be newly affected, I think continuing the status quo for the most part does no harm. No further comment.
Okay, I have no further comment either. And so at this point, I guess, with that, I would entertain a motion.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the revisions to the Klickitat County redistricting plan by making no changes to the Klickitat County district boundaries or to the Klickitat County Code Chapter 1.12.010 titled Commissioners District Boundaries Delegated or Designated.
I will step down and second that motion. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? My only discussion was I want to thank you, the auditor, and especially Brandy, because I know you probably did most of the heavy lifting.
She did.
And with other staff in the department. And on a pretty tight time frame, and you don't have other stuff going on as well. So I just really want to thank you for doing the heavy lifting and getting us the data. Appreciate that.
I would just kind of second all of what he said when he said it, so I will let him have that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, I'm gonna move this on to consent.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with all 15 items.
Yeah, I will step down and second that motion as well. Discussion on consent. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Here's the file.
Seconded, yeah. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay the accounts payable warrants in the amount of $1,366,317.03, and the payroll benefit warrants in the amount of $1,070,364.50 for the date ending December 27th, 2021.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion to pay the bills. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay estimate number 7 to Lead Contractors LLC in the amount of $31,872.72, which excludes retainage in the amount of $1,592.64 and includes sales tax in the amount of $2,388.95 for the total payment amount of $32,649.03 for the Klickitat County Courthouse Entrance Improvement Project C06821.
I will step down and second the motion. A motion and a second to approve pay estimate number 7 to Lead Contractors. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we pay estimate number 1 and final to Northwest Natural Homes LLC in the amount of $3,688.33 for the courthouse east entrance stucco.
Okay, I will step down and second that motion. I have a motion and a second to approve pay estimate number 1 and final to Northwest Natural Homes LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Any board pending we want to look at? Got to get to the year. It's okay. I think we're fine.
Oh, I got some end of the year house cleaning, but we're not all here, so almost.
No, that's, look, it'll be first of the year house cleaning.
Right.
Okay, which brings us to elected officials report update, prosecuting attorney. Mr. Cannell, I didn't know if you had, I'm not seeing you, or Rebecca, did you have anything that you needed to bring to the board's attention?
David is on today and I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Just let me, I will say to you, Rebecca, thank you for, I know you're providing a lot of help and assistance with the public records requests that the various departments are getting. We really appreciate being able to get some assistance, making sure what's a public records request, what's not, how we respond to those. So I know that's been kind of given over to you as that's kind of in your area of duties right now. So I appreciate that.
I'm happy to help.
Oh. If you hurry, we can make it before 2 o'clock.
Unless there's anybody else on that. All righty, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn this regular meeting.
Okay, I will step down and second that motion. I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting. We have no workshops scheduled the rest of the week. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion pass. We are adjourned. Everybody,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.